The Confederation Grand Fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system like a dark cloud that blocked out the stars. Supreme Admiral Toth Karen commanded 2.3 million vessels from 847 different species across the galaxy. The combined fleet was so massive that its gravity fields disrupted space itself and created artificial auroras in Earth's atmosphere. President Carter stood in her underground command bunker in Colorado watching the impossible sight through telescopes mounted on Earth's surface. The alien armada stretched across space like a moving city of weapons and death. Every ship carried enough firepower to destroy planets. Together, they carried enough weapons to turn entire solar systems into cosmic dust, Madam President. We are receiving a communication from the Confederation fleet, reported Commander Walsh from her monitoring station. Supreme Admiral Toth Karen demands to speak with Earth's leader immediately. The alien commander appeared on the main screen, looking like a creature from humanity's worst nightmares. 8 feet tall with 6 arms and skin that moved like liquid metal, Toth Karen had personally conquered over 200 worlds during his 1,000-year military career. His voice carried the authority of absolute power. Humans of Earth, I am Supreme Admiral Toth Karen speaking for the Galactic Confederation. You have caused enough trouble for the galaxy. Your resistance has inspired rebellions on 17 worlds and disrupted the peace that has existed for 2,000 years. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be quick. Continue to resist and we will make your species suffer for 1,000 generations before we finally destroy you. President Carter looked around at her military advisors and saw the same determination in their eyes that had carried humanity through its darkest hours. Admiral Morrison nodded slightly, giving her approval for the final gambit they had planned together. The strategy was so desperate and dangerous that it could destroy humanity even if it succeeded. Supreme Admiral Toth Karen, we are humanity, and we have an answer for your generous offer. We choose war, but we will not fight your war on your terms. We will fight our war on our terms. You want to destroy Earth? We will destroy your empire. Activate Protocol Omega. Across the solar system, human ships that had been hiding in asteroid fields and behind the moons of gas giant planets suddenly activated their engines. But instead of moving to defend Earth, they jumped to faster than light speed using alien technology and headed in all directions across the galaxy. Captain Rodriguez led the largest human fleet toward the Confederation homeworlds, carrying a message that would change galactic history forever. The strategy was brilliant and insane at the same time. Instead of concentrating forces to defend their home planet, humans scattered their entire military across the galaxy to attack the core worlds of Confederation species simultaneously. If Earth died, the galaxy would burn. If the Confederation wanted total war, humanity would give them total war. Reports began coming in within hours. Human ships had attacked 47 different star systems at the same time. The psychological impact was devastating to species that had never experienced warfare on their own worlds. Panic spread through the Confederation as leaders realized their home planets were under attack by the same primitive species they had come to destroy. Commander Amy Walsh led her task force to capture the main Confederation communication hub in the Vega system. Her mission was to broadcast humanity's final message to every inhabited planet in the galaxy. The facility was defended by 1,000 alien ships, but the human attack came from an unexpected direction using tactics no galactic species had ever seen. Citizens of the galaxy, this is humanity speaking to you from Earth. We are about to die fighting for our freedom, but our deaths will not be meaningless. We have shown you that the Confederation can be fought. We have proven that resistance is possible. When we are gone, remember our example. Choose freedom over slavery. Choose dignity over survival. Choose to fight rather than surrender. The message went out simultaneously to 2.8 million inhabited worlds across the galaxy, translated into thousands of different languages. For the first time in galactic history, every conquered species heard someone telling them that they had a choice. They could live as slaves or die as free beings, but they did not have to accept whatever the Confederation decided for them. Back at Earth, the final battle began when the alien fleet moved into attack position. But they found a surprise waiting for them. Lunabase had been converted into the largest kinetic weapon ever built by any species. Using the moon itself as a railgun, humanity launched projectiles at near light speed directly into the alien fleet. Dr. Emma Hayes commanded a medical corps that had grown into a fighting unit as alien landing forces reached Earth's surface. Her field hospital became a fortress where wounded human soldiers continued fighting from their hospital beds. When alien troops tried to capture the facility, they found doctors and nurses who had taken up weapons to defend their patients. "The humans are insane," reported one alien ground commander to his superiors. "Their wounded continue fighting. Their medical personnel attack our forces. Even their children are participating in combat operations. This species does not understand the concept of surrender." Young Kevin Hayes had grown from teenager to veteran warrior during the months of preparation and fighting. Now 18 years old, he led a squad of volunteers in the defense of New York City, broadcasting messages of defiance, even as alien ships destroyed buildings around him. "We are the children of predators who chose cooperation over domination." Kevin spoke into his communication device while explosions shook the ground beneath his feet. "We learned to hunt in packs not because we were weak, but because we were strong. You face the ultimate pack now. We may die today, but we will die free, and our deaths will inspire others to fight for their freedom." The turning point came when Supreme Admiral Toth Karan received reports that rebellions were starting on over 300 worlds across the galaxy. Human attacks had struck at the heart of the Confederation's power and proven that the Galactic Empire could be hurt. More importantly, humanity's message of resistance had spread to every corner of known space. "This is impossible," Toth Karan raged at his subordinates. "One primitive species cannot destroy an empire that has existed for 2,000 years. Send orders to all fleet commanders. Increase attacks on human positions. Show the galaxy what happens to species that resist the Confederation." But it was already too late. The galaxy had seen something it had never witnessed before. A species that preferred death to slavery. A people who became more dangerous when cornered rather than more cooperative. Most importantly, they had seen that the mighty Confederation could be fought and forced to pay a price for their conquest. The war's end came not through military victory but through political revolution. Representatives from over 500 conquered species sent a joint message to the Confederation leadership. They demanded that the attack on Earth be stopped and that humanity be offered membership in the galaxy as equals, rather than conquered slaves. "The humans have shown us what we forgot during 2,000 years of peace," declared Vashatai, speaking for the Kethmori rebels. "Some things are worth fighting for. Some principles are worth dying to defend. We will no longer accept slavery disguised as protection. We choose freedom." Supreme Admiral Toth Karan found himself facing something no Confederation commander had ever encountered: a galaxy in rebellion. His choice was simple. He could destroy Earth and spend the next 1,000 years fighting wars across every inhabited world in the galaxy. Or he could accept that the age of easy conquest was over and the galaxy had learned to fight. The message that came from the Confederation High Command to Earth was unprecedented in galactic history. "Humans of Earth, the Galactic Confederation respectfully requests that you cease hostile operations and accept membership in the galactic community as an equal partner. Your courage has been noted and your principles have been respected. Will you help us build a better galaxy?" President Carter stood once again in her command bunker, but now the mood was different. Earth had won not just survival, but something far more important. They had won the right to choose their own destiny, and had given that same right to every other species in the galaxy. "Admiral Morrison, we have achieved something I never thought possible. We did not just save Earth, we saved the concept of freedom itself." The epilogue was written 1 year later when Captain Rodriguez and Commander Walsh commanded the first mixed-species fleet in galactic history. They were heading to defend another world that had chosen freedom over submission. 47 species had declared independence from Confederation rule inspired by humanity's example. The galaxy was at war again, but this time it was a war for liberation rather than conquest. The final entry in Earth's military records was simple and direct. Humanity had faced extinction and chosen defiance. They had been offered slavery and chosen war. They had been given the chance to surrender, and instead taught the galaxy that freedom was worth any sacrifice. The stars themselves would remember that when the galaxy ordered Earth's surrender, humanity answered with war and changed the universe forever. News of humanity's resistance traveled across the galaxy through alien communication networks faster than anyone expected. On the distant world of Kepler 442b, a reptilian creature named Krexmore received the impossible report while working in the mineral processing centers where his people served their Confederation masters. The Mammals from Sol 3 made the fleet retreat, whispered another worker named Sisika. 23 ships destroyed. The Confederation has never lost ships to a primitive species before. Crexmore looked around to make sure no Confederation overseers were listening. His people, the Sarnathi, had surrendered to galactic rule 300 years ago, when the aliens arrived at their world. Like every other conquered species, they had chosen survival over resistance. But now some unknown species was actually fighting back and winning battles. Maybe the reports are wrong, Crexmore said quietly. No species has ever successfully resisted the Confederation. It is impossible. But the reports kept coming through secret communication channels that the Confederation did not monitor. The humans had not only fought back but had forced the mighty galactic fleet to withdraw and regroup. More shocking still, the primitive species was preparing to continue fighting even though the Confederation was bringing its full military power to destroy them. Back on Earth, the celebration of victory lasted exactly 6 hours. Then reality set in, and the surviving military leaders began preparing for the next attack. Intelligence reports from Dr. Lisa Bennett painted a terrifying picture. The Confederation was mobilizing military forces from across the galaxy. Over 2 million ships were moving toward the Sol system. 2 million ships, repeated General Rick Turner in disbelief. We destroyed 23 of their vessels and lost nearly half our fleet doing it. How are we supposed to fight 2 million ships? Admiral Kate Morrison studied the intelligence reports with growing respect for the enemy they faced. The Confederation is not taking any chances this time. They are bringing enough firepower to destroy our entire solar system. They want to make sure no other species gets the idea that resistance is possible. Engineer Maya Davis had spent the week since the first battle studying captured alien technology. Her basement laboratory now contained pieces of destroyed Confederation ships and the weapon systems she had reverse-engineered from them. What she discovered changed everything about Earth's defensive strategy. Admiral, I have figured out how their faster-than-light drives work. We can build our own versions using Earth materials. More importantly, we can use this technology to take the fight to them instead of just defending our solar system. The idea was revolutionary and dangerous. Instead of waiting for the aliens to attack Earth again, human ships could strike at Confederation targets across the galaxy. No species in galactic history had ever launched offensive operations against the empire that conquered them. Captain Jake Rodriguez received command of the first human strike force equipped with alien FTL technology. His mission was to attack Confederation supply bases and communication centers far from Earth. The goal was not to win battles but to spread panic across the galaxy and force the aliens to divide their forces. Captain, this is the most dangerous mission in human history, Admiral Morrison told him before departure. You will be alone in hostile space with no possibility of rescue if something goes wrong. But if you succeed, you will show the galaxy that humans do not just defend, we attack. The psychological warfare campaign began when Rodriguez and his 12-ship task force struck a Confederation supply depot 30 light-years from Earth. The alien garrison had never been attacked before. They sent panic communications across the galaxy reporting that humans were fighting far from their homeworld. Dr. Tony Mitchell monitored alien communications from his underground facility and translated the growing panic in Confederation ranks. Admiral, the aliens are terrified. They keep referring to humans as unpredictable predators who fight using unknown tactics. Several species are starting to question why they surrendered to the Confederation without even trying to resist. The galaxy began to change in ways the Confederation had never experienced. On dozens of worlds, conquered species started asking dangerous questions. If primitive humans could fight the Galactic Empire, why had more advanced civilizations surrendered without trying? What would have happened if they had chosen to fight instead of submit? The most significant development came from an unexpected source. The Kethamori were a warrior species that had been conquered by the Confederation 500 years earlier. Unlike most galactic races, they had evolved as predators similar to humans. Their leader Vashatai sent a secret message to Earth through channels the Confederation did not monitor. Humans of Earth, we greet you as fellow warriors. We have watched your battles with great interest. Our people were conquered long ago, but we have never forgotten what freedom feels like. We offer you intelligence about Confederation fleet movements and supply lines. We cannot fight alongside you openly, but we can help you strike where the enemy is weakest. The alliance between humans and Kethamori warriors marked the First time in galactic history that conquered species had cooperated to resist the Confederation. The psychological impact spread to other worlds as different. Species began to realize they were not alone in their desire for freedom. Commander Amy Walsh had survived the first battle and now commanded a new ship built with both human and alien technology. Her mission was to infiltrate Confederation communication networks and broadcast humanity's message of resistance to every conquered world in the galaxy. Citizens of the galaxy, we are humanity from the world Earth. We were given 30 days to surrender our freedom and we chose war instead. We are not stronger than the Confederation. We are not more advanced than your species, but we refuse to live as slaves. If we can fight back, so can you. Freedom is not given. Freedom is taken. The message spread across 1,000 worlds in dozens of different languages. For the first time since the Confederation began its expansion, conquered species heard someone telling them that resistance was possible. The galactic empire that had ruled through fear for 2,000 years suddenly faced something it had never encountered before. Hope. President Carter received reports that rebellion was starting on 17 different worlds. The Confederation was being forced to divert military resources to put down uprisings instead of concentrating everything against Earth. Humanity's resistance had become the spark that ignited a galactic revolution. But the greatest discovery came from Dr. Mitchell's continued study of alien psychology and galactic history. Every species in the Confederation had evolved cooperation as a survival strategy against natural predators or environmental challenges. Humans were unique. They had evolved cooperation to become more effective predators. This fundamental difference meant human military tactics were completely alien to the rest of the galaxy. We are not just fighting for Earth, Admiral Morrison told her officers as they prepared for the final battle. We are fighting to show the galaxy that some things are worth dying for. Win or lose, we have already changed everything. The galaxy will never be the same. The 30 days ended with Earth broadcasting a message that shocked the galaxy. President Carter appeared on every communication channel from Earth to the edge of the solar system. Her voice was calm, but her words carried the weight of an entire species choosing war over surrender. To the Galactic Confederation, we are humanity. We have considered your generous offer to surrender our freedom and our world. Our answer is no. We bow to no one. If you want our planet, come and take it. But know that every human who dies will take as many of your warriors with them as possible. We are the children of warriors and we choose to fight. The message was broadcast simultaneously in every human language and transmitted to every alien ship, waiting in the darkness beyond Pluto. For the first time in galactic history, a species had rejected the Confederation ultimatum and chosen, where the alien response came within hours. 500 ships broke away from the main fleet and moved toward Earth. Admiral Zekthar sent a final message to the human defenders. Your resistance is pointless. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick. Continue to resist and we will make your species suffer before we destroy you. Captain Jake Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, leading Earth's defense fleet toward the approaching alien ships. His fleet consisted of 12 real military vessels and 40 converted civilian ships crewed by volunteers who had never seen combat. Against them came 500 warships from an empire that had conquered nearly 1,000 worlds. All ships, this is Captain Rodriguez. Remember what we learned in training. The aliens expect us to fight like every other species they have conquered. They expect us to retreat when we see superior numbers. They expect us to surrender when we start losing ships. They do not know humans. Show them what we are made of. The first battle of the Earth War began when the alien ships entered weapons range near Jupiter. The Confederation vessels moved in perfect formation, using energy weapons designed to disable enemy ships for easy capture. They had never needed to destroy an entire enemy fleet before, because no species had ever forced them to fight a real war. Human tactics were completely different. Captain Rodriguez split his fleet into small groups that attacked from multiple directions. When Commander Amy Walsh lost her main engines, she ordered her crew to ram her ship into the nearest alien vessel. The collision destroyed both ships but proved that human vessels could penetrate alien shields through sheer force. The aliens had never seen suicide attacks before. In their experience, intelligent species valued survival above all else. But humans had learned in thousands of years of warfare that sometimes the only way to win was to be willing to die for victory. The psychological impact on the alien crews was devastating. Colonel Steve Parker commanded ground forces on Luna Base when the aliens attempted their first landing. The Confederation had expected to find surrender broadcasts and white flags. Instead, they found human Marines using the moon's low gravity to launch surprise attacks from impossible angles. The aliens' energy weapons were designed for ship-to-ship combat. They were nearly useless against soldiers hiding in tunnels and caves. "These humans fight like wild animals," reported one alien commander to his superiors. "They show no fear of death. They attack our superior forces without hesitation. They use tactics we have never encountered before." The battle reached its turning point when young Kevin Hayes proved his worth despite his age. When an alien landing craft crashed near the medical station where his mother, Dr. Emma Hayes, treated wounded soldiers, Kevin volunteered to rescue trapped pilots from the burning wreckage. Enemy fire filled the air, but the teenager ran through the danger zone 3 times to save human lives. Dr. Emma Hayes watched her son risk his life to save others, and felt pride stronger than her fear. This was what humans did when their backs were against the wall. They became heroes not because they had to, but because they chose to. Even her patients who could barely walk were demanding weapons so they could return to battle. The Battle of Luna lasted 6 hours and ended with something the galaxy had never seen: the Confederation retreat. Of the 500 alien ships that attacked the human solar system, only 477 returned to the main fleet. 23 alien vessels had been destroyed by a species that was supposed to surrender without firing a shot. Commander Ryan Hayes led the fighter squadron that harassed the retreating aliens all the way back to Pluto. His small ships were faster and more maneuverable than anything the Confederation had ever fought. Human pilots used combat techniques learned from thousands of years of aerial warfare on Earth. They flew in ways that no alien pilot would ever risk. "This is impossible," transmitted Admiral Zekthar to Confederation High Command. "The humans have primitive technology and no experience fighting galactic wars, but they damaged our fleet and forced us to withdraw. They fight with a ferocity we have never encountered. They seem to become more dangerous when they are losing." The news of humanity's resistance spread across the galaxy faster than light through the Confederation communication networks. On 1,000 worlds, conquered species heard the impossible story. A primitive species from a small planet had made the mighty Confederation retreat. For the first time in 2,000 years, the Galactic Empire had been forced to withdraw from battle. Admiral Kate Morrison stood in her damaged command center watching the alien fleet regroup beyond the outer planets. Earth had won the first battle but lost nearly half its defensive fleet. The victory had come at a terrible price in human lives. But they had proven something important to themselves and to the galaxy. Humans could fight. Humans could win. And most importantly, humans would never surrender their freedom no matter what the cost. The first battle was over, but the war had just begun. The Confederation would return with more ships and heavier weapons. When they came back, Earth would be ready to show them that some species preferred death to slavery. The message that President Carter sent to every human settlement across the solar system was simple and direct. "We have drawn first blood against an empire that conquered 1,000 worlds. They came expecting easy victory and found determined resistance. Let them return with their full fleet. We will teach them that Earth is not for sale at any price." Earth changed overnight into something the galaxy had never seen before. A planet preparing for war against impossible odds. Colonel Steve Parker stood in the orbital shipyard watching civilian cruise ships being stripped down and fitted with military weapons. The luxury liner Ocean Dream now carried missile pods where its swimming pools used to be. The cargo hauler Big Sky had railguns mounted where its dining rooms once welcomed passengers. "This is crazy, Colonel," said engineer Maya Davis as she welded armor plating to a school transport ship. "We are turning pleasure boats into warships. These vessels were never designed for combat." Steve Parker wiped sweat from his forehead and looked at the woman who had become Earth's most important weapons designer. "Maya, nothing about this situation makes sense. But humans have always been good at making weapons out of whatever they could find. My ancestors fought wars with farming tools when they had no swords." Maya had spent the last 2 weeks studying pieces of alien technology recovered from crashed scout probes. The Confederation ships used energy weapons designed to disable rather than destroy. Their shields were built to stop similar energy attacks, but they had no protection against old-fashioned kinetic weapons like bullets and missiles. "Colonel, I think I know why no other species ever fought back against the Confederation. Their weapons are designed for intimidation, not warfare. They probably never needed to actually fight a real war. Across the solar system, similar preparations were taking place. On Mars Colony, Commander Lisa Turner trained volunteers in zero-gravity combat. Her students included teenagers barely old enough to vote and grandparents who remembered the last Earth wars. Martha Johnson was 73 years old and insisted on learning how to operate missile defense systems. "Mrs. Johnson, you should be in the civilian shelters with the other non-combatants," Lisa said during training. The old woman laughed and continued adjusting her targeting computer. "Commander, my husband died fighting in the African wars. My son died defending the Mars settlements from pirates. Now aliens want to take my home. They will have to kill this old lady first." Dr. Tony Mitchell worked in his underground laboratory studying every piece of information about alien psychology that Earth's computers could analyze. What he discovered changed everything humans thought about warfare. Every species in the Confederation had evolved as prey animals or peaceful herd creatures. When faced with superior force, they instinctively surrendered to survive. "Humans are different," he explained to a room full of military officers. "We evolved as pack hunters. When cornered, we do not surrender. We call for help and fight harder. The aliens have never faced a species like us." The emotional heart of Earth's preparation centered around families like the Hayes family. Commander Ryan Hayes kissed his wife, Dr. Emma Hayes, goodbye in their small apartment near the spaceport. She would remain on Earth running medical stations for wounded soldiers. He would fly combat missions against alien ships with odds of survival near zero. Their son, Kevin Hayes, had lied about his age to join the Defense Forces. At 17, he was too young for combat, but old enough to understand that his world faced extinction. Emma Hayes held both her men close, knowing she might never see them again. "Promise me you will be careful," she whispered to her husband. "Promise me you will take care of the wounded," he whispered. Back young Kevin stood straight and tried to look older than his years. "Promise me you will both be proud of what I do in this war." Similar scenes played out in millions of homes across Earth and its colonies. Fathers teaching sons how to fight, mothers preparing daughters for war, grandparents sharing stories of past battles to inspire the next generation of warriors. Underground facilities across Earth worked day and night to hide civilian populations while converting the surface into a massive weapons platform. The great cities of Earth disappeared beneath metal and concrete barriers. Giant railguns rose from former parks and shopping centers. Missile silos replaced schools and hospitals. President Carter toured the converted landscape of Earth with Admiral Morrison. Where once peaceful farms grew food, now soldiers dug trenches and planted landmines. Where once children played in parks, now anti-aircraft guns pointed at the sky. "Admiral, do you think we have any chance of winning this war?" the president asked. Kate Morrison looked at the organized chaos of Earth's war preparations. Millions of people working together with one goal: survival at any cost. "Madam President, I have studied military history for 30 years. I have never seen anything like what humans are doing right now. We are not just preparing to defend our world. We are preparing to teach the galaxy that some things are worth dying for." The final week before the alien deadline saw Earth's transformation complete. Every human settlement from Luna Base to the Mars colonies had been armed and fortified. The civilian population had been moved to deep underground shelters, stocked with supplies for years of siege warfare. Earth's small military fleet had grown to over 300 combat vessels through conversion of civilian ships. Commander Amy Walsh stood on the bridge of her converted cruise ship, now renamed UES Liberty Bell. Her crew of former hotel staff and entertainment workers had become warriors in 3 weeks. They knew their ship was not built for combat. They knew they would probably die in the coming battle. But they also knew they would die as free humans fighting for their home. The alien ultimatum had given humanity 30 days to surrender. Instead, it had become 30 days for Earth to prepare for war. When the Confederation fleet finally moved toward Earth, they would find something no alien species had ever created before. They would find a world that preferred death to slavery. They would find humanity at war. Admiral Kate Morrison stood in the war room deep beneath Colorado mountains and stared at the alien face on the giant screen. The creature looked like living crystal with blue light flowing through its body like blood. Its voice came through the speakers cold and mechanical, like a machine reading instructions. "I am Zekthar of the Vorthak species, speaking for the Galactic Confederation. Your species has been observed and judged. You have 30 Earth days to surrender your world and submit to Confederation rule. If you refuse this generous offer, your planet will be destroyed and your species erased from existence. No exceptions will be made. No negotiations will be accepted. This message will not be repeated. The screen went black and the room fell silent. Kate looked around at the faces of Earth's military leaders. Some looked scared. Others looked angry. All looked shocked. In 300 years of space exploration, humanity had never found intelligent life. Now they had found humanity and delivered an ultimatum that could end everything. President Helen Carter entered the room with her security team. Her face was pale, but her voice stayed steady. "How long do we have, Admiral Morrison?" 29 days and 16 hours, Madam President. The message was received simultaneously at all our deep space monitoring stations. They knew exactly where to send it. General Rick Turner slammed his fist on the metal table. "This is insane. They show up out of nowhere and demand we surrender our entire planet. What gives them the right?" Dr. Lisa Bennett stepped forward with her tablet showing alien language patterns. "General, the message contained over 40 different languages. Some we have never seen before. This confederation appears to represent many different species. They may have the right of superior numbers." Captain Jake Rodriguez looked up from his communication device. "Admiral, I am getting reports from all our orbital stations. Unknown ships are appearing at the edge of our solar system. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands." Kate felt her stomach drop. Earth's entire space fleet consisted of 12 military vessels and about 50 civilian ships that could be converted for combat. If the aliens had thousands of ships, this war was over before it started. President Carter activated the emergency communication system that connected to every government on Earth. "This is President Carter speaking to all world leaders. We have received a message from an alien confederation demanding our immediate surrender. I am calling an emergency session of the Global Defense Council. All military forces are to be placed on highest alert immediately." The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Reports came in from observatories around the world. The alien fleet was massive beyond anything humans had imagined. Ships the size of cities floated in space near Pluto. Energy readings showed weapons that could crack planets like eggs. Commander Amy Walsh ran into the war room carrying a thick folder of papers. "Admiral, we have been monitoring alien communications. They are not trying to hide their transmissions. Either they do not care if we listen, or they want us to hear what they are saying." "What are they saying, Commander?" Amy opened her folder and read from the translated text. "The Confederation has conquered 847 different species across the galaxy. Every single one surrendered without fighting. They call it the standard procedure. Send ultimatum. Wait 30 days. Accept surrender. Add new species to Confederation." General Turner leaned back in his chair. 847 species and none of them fought back? What kind of cowards are we dealing with? Dr. Bennett shook her head. "Not cowards, General. Think about it from their perspective. If you faced a force thousands of times larger than your own military, what would you do? Most intelligent species would choose survival over pride." Captain Rodriguez stood up and walked to the star map on the wall. "But we are not most species, are we? My grandfather fought in the Third World War. My great-grandfather fought in the Second World War. Humans have never been good at surrendering." Kate activated her secure communication line to contact Earth space stations. "This is Admiral Morrison to all stations. Begin immediate military preparations. Convert all available civilian vessels for combat operations. Recall all personnel from non-essential missions. We are now at war." The responses came back quickly. Luna Base reported they could arm their mining equipment as weapons. Mars Colony said their cargo ships could be fitted with missile systems. Europa Station promised to send their ice haulers loaded with kinetic weapons. Even the small research stations volunteered to fight. President Carter looked around the room at the faces of Earth's defenders. "Ladies and gentlemen, we face a choice that no human government has ever faced. We can surrender our world and our freedom to save lives, or we can fight against impossible odds for the right to remain free. I will not make this decision alone. In 6 hours I will address the people of Earth and let them choose." The 6 hours passed quickly as Earth's military prepared for war. Every ship that could fly was being armed. Every station that could fight was being fortified. Every person who could hold a weapon was volunteering to defend their home. When President Carter appeared on screens around the world, her message was simple and direct. "Citizens of Earth, we have been given 30 days to surrender our planet or face destruction. The alien force against us numbers in the thousands. Our chances of victory are small, but freedom has never been free and humans have never bowed to tyranny. The choice is yours. The response was immediate and overwhelming. From New York to Tokyo, from London to Sydney, the answer was the same. Humanity would fight. They would rather die free than live as slaves. The Global Defense Council vote was unanimous. Earth would not surrender. Admiral Kate Morrison looked at the alien fleet through her telescope as the sun set over the mountains. Thousands of ships waited in the darkness of space like wolves surrounding a campfire, but humans had always been good at fighting wolves. The next 30 days would show the galaxy something it had never seen before. They would see what happened when someone told humanity to surrender.